Hey guys, I'm here doing spark plugs on my 2015 Ram 1500 5.7. I've seen online that this is kind of a difficult job. So I went and poked around a little bit and did some research and got the part numbers for the spark plugs from Advanced Auto Parts. Went on Amazon and found them for substantially cheaper. So jot that down. This is what's going in. This is what's come out. I've only done one so far. I know there's a lot on online about counterfeit NGKs, and I did find a video that spoke on it, and it spoke on how to identify counterfeit NGKs. And supposedly, if it's a legit NGK, this stamping right here from the factory won't be centered, and this little guy right here doesn't come on them. This little factory production stamp there. So I'm pretty sure these are legit, but they were around half the price that Advanced Auto Parts wanted for them. Now, obviously this thing takes 16 friggin' plugs, whatever, but there's some clearance issues back in here. If you haven't looked yet, you can see it's pretty tight to the firewall back there, and of course you got this monster brake booster in the way. While I was on Amazon poking around these spark plugs, it said, would you like to also purchase this? And it was this little guy. This is a 5/8 spark plug socket. It's got a little magnet in there, and by Gear Wrench. But this thing is pretty sweet. It's about a 4.5 inch extension on it, 3/8 drive, but it's a swivel. So it's got some swivel to it, and it's got this spring that holds that thing in there pretty tight. As you can see, you can give it a little bend and then get in there and stick it where it needs to go, if you know what I'm saying. Now check it out, it's pretty easy. So obviously I had the S&B intake popped off, which is probably the hardest part of this job so far. It likes to interfere with the engine cover. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass to install. However, it's a great unit. I would highly recommend. But check this little guy out. This thing is perfect for getting in here into this hole. You give it a little bend, and it just pops right down in there, and then you can stick your ratchet on it. Got a ratchet right here. It goes on pretty easily, and then, I mean, there's enough room to swing this ratchet enough to get that sucker out. Pretty easy. And as you can see, it's gonna have plenty of clearance by the time we get up here to do these plugs on these ones right behind that brake booster. So I don't see any problems. Obviously this side's got a ton of clearance over there. These little guys are a little bit of a pain in the ass. It's kind of an old Dodge thing. They've always had these little red tabs on shit that it's kind of hard to get out. They got them on the injectors too, and the fuel line there. But so what I did was I just unbolted the coil packs, popped them right out of there, and then unplugged these. You don't have to unplug these first. You can if you're feeling froggy, but it's a little bit of a pain in the ass. I would recommend unbolting them and then popping the coil packs off first, and then unplugging those little guys, and then, yeah, that's it. So the factory plug gap is 40 thousandths, or sorry, 44 thousandths on these. These are original. We got about 93,000 on them. They don't look bad. And the gap, well, this is just the first one, but the gap seems to be okay. They're a little crummy and stuff, but that's not too crazy. Now, these came gapped at 40 thousandths already. So I just checked 8 of them just to make sure they're all the same. Obviously, I'm doing one bank at a time. And they all gapped perfectly at 40 thousandths. We're going to run with that slightly tighter gap. I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. You know, shorter gap's going to make a little hotter of a spark. But these iridiums already fire pretty hot already, allegedly. I don't know. I'm not a scientist or an engineer, so I don't know how any of that stuff actually functions. I know how it works, but I don't know how it actually performs. So we'll see. We'll see what 40 thousandths gap gives us. I mean, obviously with iridium and platinums, you need a gapper tool like this. That way you can properly gap these things. You stick this behind the strap or the cathode, and then you kind of pry it up. A little something like that. And then you can pry it up to open up your gap, and then of course to close the gap you just, you know, tap it on your whatever Dodge Dakota tailgate you have, because this truck sits, not so much that the truck sits really high, it just and it is really deep in there. I'm 6'2", and I'm having a little bit of problems reaching back there without jumping onto the thing up here. So if you got an old beater pickup laying around, probably not a bad idea to use as a workbench. So yeah, there it is. If I encounter any more problems, I'll let you know. Alright, we're about done here. I'll tell you right now, this side was probably a little more of a pain in the ass than this side. Because of these guys right here, these heater hoses. Not too bad. It's not so much the heater hoses either, it's this gigantic harness that's in the way. So these heater hoses just go right back in here. There's this little guy right here. If you can see that very well. This little retainer thing. Come on, focus. Alright. It's kind of a little keeper thing that holds these hoses in place. And it's just got this little clip right here. You can see that just clips into place. Right there. It's not a big deal. You just pop that little guy off. You pull these hoses up around this guy. This guy had a little shitty plastic little keeper that broke as soon as I popped it out of there. Not a big deal. Not really necessary. As you can see, this gigantic jumble of wires just holds its shape just fine. And this guy just goes right here. I might just throw a little zip tie in here or something and keep it in place, but that's good to go. We gotta cram this damn air cleaner back in here. S&B, cold air intake, great unit. Pain in the ass. Overall, not too bad. All the plugs are in. All 16 plugs are in. Thanks, Ram. Not too bad. Quick overview. Doing a little bit of smart consumer shopping. I was able to get dielectric grease for the coil boots. This nifty little spark plug tool here. It's got just the right amount of swivel on it and just the right length to get you where you need and have zero issues doing every single spark plug on this thing. 16 plugs, 16 OE rated NGK Iridium plugs. I got all of this on Amazon for less than a full set of spark plugs at the auto parts store. That's about everything you're going to need right there. Feeler gauge, a little bit of man glitter here, and this guy in case you want to re-gap your plugs. Thanks for watching.